Hi guys, my name is Karthik and I'm from executeautomation.com and welcome to part 19 of our BDD video series. And in this video, we'll be talking about calling steps from step definitions. Calling steps from step definition. Why is this suddenly? There are some situations where we might need to call a step from within a step definition so that the number of steps within the feature files can also be reduced and the number of duplicate steps can also be reduced. So this way we can reduce not only the number of code that we write in step definition, but also we can reduce the number of steps within our feature file itself. So this way it can be more readable and more usable by your business analyst. So as you can see in this scenario, we have something like this. Given I log into an application with this username and password and I enter the following details, right? And let's say in a next scenario, we are going to use exactly the same thing, but we're going to perform an additional operation. Let's say to click a save button. But again, if I write the same details in our feature, it is going to be a kind of pain for a business analyst to copy paste some of the repeated code or repeated text. So in order to reduce that, we can use a existing step definition which is already available and we can make use of it. So now our scenario will look something like this. Given I log in and enter user details, then I click the save button. So here, given I log in and enter user details, it's just one single line, but it actually performs the login and the entering of the user details which is available already in your existing scenario within the same feature file. This is kind of a reusability of your existing steps within a step definition. We will see how it works in action. So for that, I'm going to flip to Visual Studio. So this is one of the project which I have created. It is pretty easy and simple project which I have, but I have used a page object model here. So what it basically does is it exactly do the same thing which we discussed in our slide. So it is logging into the application and then entering the user details like title, initial and first name. And then it is trying to click a save button in next scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm just quickly going to implement this step definition and see how it works. So I'm just going to do F12 and you can see that it says no matching step definition. So I'm just going to right click and generate the step definition and I'm going to copy all these methods to clipboard. And then I'm going to go to the steps which I have already written here, login step.cs, and within this class I'm just going to paste these step definitions. Cool. And then I'm going to start implementing this code. So basically how I have written this code is this is exactly the same application, the execute automation application that we got. And you can see we are trying to enter the username and password here and clicking the login button, and then we're going to enter the title, initial and first name. So how it going to look like? We are going to use our techtalk.specflow.assist, which is nothing but the dynamic data. So for that, I'm just going to type something like this. Dynamic of data is equal to table.create dynamic instance. And then I'm just going to pass in the username and password to one of the method that I got in the login page object. So login page is equal to new login page, and login page dot login of the data dot, and we know that it is username and then password. So since it is dynamic, you just have to type something like this: username and data dot password. Cool. So it's going to log in. So once it logs in, it's going to return me the user form page as a page navigation. So user form page, but before doing that, I'm just going to declare the user form page here. User form page of user page is equal to null, and I'm going to use that object here, or maybe I can use user page is equal to, I can cast that to this user form page. Cool. So now I have this user form page, and then I'm just going to enter the user details within this particular form, the title, initial and first name. So I have already implemented that in my code right here. I have created the page objects and the method to enter the details. So I will just do that as well. As usual, same, create dynamic instances. So I'm just going to call that. For the user page, there is something called enter user details. So here I'm gonna fill the initial or title, data dot first name, and data dot initial. Cool. So there we go. It now enters all the details, and let's save this and quickly run this test and see how it's going to work. So I'm just going to build the solution. Now I go to Test Explorer, and we have something called enter user details in user form. Let's quickly run this test and see how it works, and then we'll try to implement our steps in step definition feature. There we go. So it enters all the details as expected. Perfect. I'm just going to close it. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of these two lines in this particular step definition right here. So how to do that? And that's why in Specflow there is a way that you can reuse your existing step definition easily by means of a class called steps class. So I will tell you how to do that. So first thing which we need to do is we are going to make use of this particular step within our step definition. In order to call this, we have to pass the data, which is nothing but the table data, into our method so that we can enter the username and password. So first thing is we need to create a column header. So for doing that, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make use of the string array, and let's call this as call header is equal to, I'm just going to create an array here, so which is nothing but username and password, right? It's exactly the same thing, username and password. And then I have to enter the values for these row. So the values are going to be admin, and I was typing the password also as admin. And then we have to create an object for the table. So we have a table class in our techtalk.specflow.table, right? So I'm going to call that. And here it asks for the header, which is nothing but our call header that we created. So now we have our table ready, and we have to add this particular row so that you can pass this table with the row data into the method that you're going to call. So table dot, there is a method called add row. So you can make use of this guy, and then you can pass the row, right? So now you have created a table with values. And now we have to pass this table to this method, this step definition method. So that's what we are doing. We are running our test, or we are using the steps within the step definition. This is a step definition, and we are calling a step within the step definition, right? So how to do that? So in order to call this, we have to call the given method, but it won't appear here. And the reason is because we have to inherit from another class called steps. This class is coming from techtalk.specflow once again. So I'm going to call this guy. And now you can see if I type given and if I open the bracket, you can see there is a method coming in. And there are 4 overloaded methods for this. The first overload method is just the step name. The next one is the step with the multi-line text argument. So we are going to pass a multi-line text argument here. This one. This table is otherwise called as the multi-line text argument. So we're going to make use of that. And the method that we're going to call is this. I log into application. So I'm going to call that. I'm going to paste it right here. And now I want to pass the multi-line text argument, which is nothing but my table. I'm going to save it, and now if I try to run this scenario, it should work as expected. It should just log in this time. There we go, right? So this way you are making use of your existing step definition into your actual step like this. And now if I want to make use of this step definition as well, then the whole implementation is done. So all I have to do is this. Call header is equal to title, first name, initial. And then let's also change this. I'm sorry. String of the column header for user form, and then I'm going to add rows for user form, which is nothing but the values here. So the title is going to be Mr. and the first name is going to be Karthik, and let's say the value is going to be KK, something like that. Cool. And then we are going to do exactly the same thing. Maybe we're going to make use of the existing object. It's equal to new table of the call header for UF and table dot add row of the cell, which is nothing but the row for UF, and then let's call the method given, and then I'm just going to call this method. I enter the following details. I'm just going to paste it right here, and here we go, the table. Now if I try to run this test, it should work as expected. So I should also enter the user form details information. So I'm just going to run this selected test. So it enters the username and password, and also it entered the title, initial, and first name. Cool. So this is how you can make use of your step definition feature in Specflow. Thank you very much for watching this video and have a great day.